turn off the chat messages. There we go. Anyway, so I just wanted to once again promote this channel. My goal is still to end June with 1,000 subscribers. Like I said, it's completely free to subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out a bunch. And like I said, I'm not on here to make money of any kind ever. I'm just here to do my thing and to have a good time. For me, this is a hobby. I think it's pretty cool to be able to, you know, tell people about my life and talk about current events and do reviews on things and people and all that stuff. And like I said, originally this was going to be a recovery-based YouTube channel, but I already have my journey in recovery on Facebook for that, so I'm not even going to, I mean, I do throw a few recovery things in here and there. Like, for instance, yesterday marked my 6 years of being clean and sober from everything. And I really do mean everything. Heroin, meth, marijuana, and alcohol. I've been clean and sober for 6 months. 6 years. Bleh. Glory to God. I never thought that I would make it 6 months without drugs. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I'm very grateful, very blessed. And it's not easy. It's really, walking the path of recovery is very, very difficult. It's very challenging. But it is, it's so worth it. My biggest thing, though, as everybody already knows, like I say, I'm not afraid to talk about my struggles because it helps. I'm able to get support that way. I'm able to have people pray for me, people to pray over me. And like I said, and you already know, the biggest issue that I have is my lack of forgiveness. Now, that's something that will, unforgiveness and recovery, those two things don't work together at all. And, I'm letting my past, spill over into my present, and that's affecting everything I'm doing. Trying to better my life, trying to, rebuild my life. And by, looking in the past and worried about the past and worried about people who've done me dirty and things that I've done that have been bad to other people, it's just ridiculous. It's just too much, you know what I mean? I've given this analogy before that, it's almost like, you're driving down the road, and instead of looking straight ahead, you're looking in the rearview mirrors. You're driving, oh, what's going on behind me? Kaboom! There's going to be a crash. You're going to hit something. You're going to crash and burn. And I was talking to a very wise man not too long ago, letting him know about what's going on and how I'm feeling. I'm having a hard time forgiving people from my past, ex-husbands, classmates, relatives, just all these people and stuff, right? And he said, we all forgive differently. We all process and heal from trauma differently. Now, when it comes to the thought process, when these negative thoughts about the past and everything start creeping in, you have to take those thoughts captive within the first couple of seconds, or you're going to be off and running with the negativity and that burning in the chest, the headaches, all of that. And it's true. Once I start thinking about something that's happened that's bad, takes no more than 3-4 seconds, and my chest starts burning. I'm like, dang, this is crazy. This is no way to live. And honestly, I don't want anybody else, going through this. Like I had said, the longer you take to forgive someone, the harder it's gonna be. Here, I'll be 47 in August, and I'm holding on to grudges against people for things that happened, 30 plus years ago. You know what I mean? Now that's literally insane. Like one of my friends said, geez, Deborah, that's absolutely insane that you're going to be holding on to a grudge for that long. That's crazy. And she said that she sees me as being this very beautiful, person, inside and out, who has, conquered a lot. And like I said, it's not me, it's God. God's the one that's helped me get to where I am today. But, even so, at the end of the day, if I'm going to, be sitting here stewing and getting angry about stuff that's already done and over with, that's not a good place to be at all, dude. I mean, seriously. And believe you me, I've called both of my ex-husbands every single name you could think of, and then some. I called those dudes names that I made up, dude. That's how much I had, the resentment and grudges I was holding against them, It's like, wow, how dare they treat me like that? Especially the first dude, the Mexican dude. I'm an 18-year-old kid. He's almost a senior citizen. He's going to try to treat me as a punching bag. Call me all kinds of names, being physically abusive. And like I said, he's the kind of dude, he figured that, I didn't have any friends or family that gave a rat's behind about how I was doing. At least that's, his thought process. So he continued to act a fool to me. It's crazy with these abusive dudes, no matter what you do, they get crazy with you. You'll be doing nothing and then they'll decide that they want to beat you up or demean you and talk down to you. And the thing that really would get me is this fool is yelling and screaming at me in public in front of all these different people, right? And it's like, dude, me being the person that I am today and having witnessed all the stuff that I have in the past and been treated like dirt, I'm not sure how I would react to a man standing around screaming at a woman. I'd probably get on the phone and dial 911 and call the cops. I mean, that doesn't make you look good to be screaming at a female while you're this big, ugly, for all intents and purposes, an ogre standing there in a street corner in Seattle screaming at me and telling me that if I didn't listen to all this disrespectful stuff that he was saying to me, that he was going to leave me in Seattle, which is 30 miles or more away from where we live. We lived in Tacoma, and that's the craziness that I had to deal with. But also, on the flip side, like they say, hurt people hurt people. Because nobody normal who is a decent, healthy, well-adjusted human being is going to act crazy like that. I mean, people, men and stuff, these really disrespectful men always like to talk about females being crazy and stuff. But I can assure you, the first ex-husband is the most deranged, mentally unstable human being I've ever known. Like, ever. And I really do mean that. I'm not exaggerating at all, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just crap like that that'll sneak up into my brain and just take hold, and that's another thing that you really got to battle. I mean, in life, and especially in recovery, is the negative false beliefs. The more somebody says negative things to you, the more you start to believe it, even though it's not true. It's them who are sick in the head, not you. But all that negativity, if it's being beaten into you over and over and over and over again, after a while, you're going to think it's all true when it's not. And that's also part of moving on. The healing process and moving on is to be able to be like, hey, wait a second. This person was deeply disturbed. They have some mental problems. They probably should be in prison right now. Let it go. Let it go. It's not worth it. And the scary thing is, it's amazing how many horrible people like that there are. All you gotta do is come on here or go on Facebook and read some of the comments. A lot of these very, very, very depraved individuals like to leave. But then again, on the flip side, this world is full of a lot of really good people. It's just hard to see the good when all you're seeing is bad. Just like the people, like I said, I spent between like 5 and 10 minutes reading a bunch of comments that people had made. There was this video about how these black dudes had killed these people, the Vietnamese people or whatever. They were going to Vegas just to have a good time. And these black dudes came in and killed them and robbed them or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden the comments explode saying it's only black people that commit crimes. Now I can tell you that that is not true. But people like to spread lies. They like to spread ignorance. They like to just act a fool. And if you have a very weak mind, you're going to listen to everything somebody tells you, whether that's true or not. And I've been, like I said, I was on the streets for a couple of years, doing lots of drugs and hanging out with a bunch of different people. And I can assure you, it's not just black people that commit crimes. Like I said, for years, like a year and a half, well, actually, no, it was less than that. A couple of months, I bought heroin from a white supremacist. Like, most of the people I did drugs with and bought drugs from were white. Most of the people I hung out with who were committing crimes were white. So the fact that somebody's going to have the audacity and such an ignorant mouth is to come on YouTube and Facebook and say that only black people commit crimes, that's the stupidest crap I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, stupid. I mean, people are just willfully ignorant. They spread crap around. It makes for a very, unpleasant existence, especially here in America when you're a person of color like me. Because evidently, I'm inferior because my skin tone is a little bit darker than somebody else's. But anyway, see, once again, I'm just going off on a tangent talking about a bunch of different bizarre things that really, actually, it does have to do with what I'm talking about. It's all about forgiveness and just letting things go and not letting people get to you. Like I said, the world is full of really good people, but it's also full of a lot of horrible people who do what they can to try to make life as miserable for others as they can. And it's like, Lord God, please help us all, and please, handle these people who want to make things miserable for everybody, like for real. That being said, I'm going to go and I'm going to watch my YouTube channel, Insomnia Stories. If you like horror stories and stuff, that's a pretty good YouTube channel. All right. Talk to you all another time. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.